Hello world. I'm making a short stream today to honor Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is held every year on November 20th, and it's to honor the lives of trans women who lost their lives to anti-transgender violence. It's like 35, let's say 35 deaths in the US, and out of that 35, 20 of them were Black trans women. Anyways, without further ado, I'm just gonna go through them and just go into details because sometimes you really don't get the details of these stories. Girl is named Brooklyn Deshauna Smith. She's from Shreveport. Like, she was found shot in her Shreveport apartment, dead, and like without any answers. Nobody knows who did it. Nobody knows anything. Like, I'd rather read something than have no answers. This is Ariana Burnett. She was found dead on the side of the road of a gunshot wound. We don't really know who the killer is. Once again, they don't carry out these investigations with full integrity a lot of times in these cases because, who cares about a trans person? This is Mia Green. In her story, the guy who killed her had her in the passenger side of his Jeep with a gunshot wound in her neck, and he actually ended up running a stop sign, which is how he got pulled over by the police. And the police saw her and they tried to rush her to the hospital, but she was pronounced dead 30 minutes later. Like, in some of these cases, I think by reading it, and I don't want to believe it, I think in some of these cases, like, their partner killed them. Like, and it's just weird. It's just sad. It's like, what the fuck? Like, this is Key Sam. She was found in a hotel room suffering from a gunshot wound. The police responded to the calls like 2:15 in the day. They rushed her to the hospital, but the next day she was pronounced dead, so she didn't make it. This woman looks very beautiful, very well put together, polished. She was giving her condolences for somebody who had passed in her hometown. She showed up to their wake, basically, and I guess people wasn't feeling her. They didn't want her there, whatever the case may be. I don't know what they felt. But later when they went to like the after party, you know how you go to like the house and you eat and stuff, like you gather together. It was like probably 20 or 30 people. This woman ended up getting stabbed, and of course somebody saw it, somebody knows something, and everybody knows everybody in this case. Nobody cooperated with the police, and they didn't tell, and nobody snitched. Like, and this was perfect example of anti-transgender violence. This was because she was trans. I can feel it. And she's beautiful. Creation B. Hardy, like, this could have been my cousin. She was a young and beautiful hairstylist. She was shot in broad daylight. No answers, no video footage, no nothing, no answers. This is Tiffany Harris. She was stabbed to death in a hate crime. Her family were adamant about telling the press that their son was not a trans woman, but they just didn't know that she was a trans woman in her community. That's how she identified, that's how people knew her, and that's what she was. Hate crime. This is Bree Black. She was killed in Florida. I think it's Pompano Beach, if that's how you pronounce it. You know how in Florida at the beach, it's crowds of people, hundreds of people all the time, like having a good time because the weather's always great, the beach is always nice, but nobody's seen what happened to her. Nobody told, basically. Like, how could you not see what happened to a person who is trans? Like, she was probably she probably stuck out like a sore thumb. You heard the gunshot. Stuff like this just really blows me because I know it's an injustice. They really allow things like this to happen, like to trans women. Like, that's crazy. To Black trans women. This is Shaky Peters, found dead on the side of the road about an hour away from Baton Rouge. They say in a night city. I've never even really been down South Louisiana. Every time that I've gone down South Louisiana was for Bayou Classic, or I have been to Baton Rouge when one of my friends went to Southern. And Baton Rouge is great, but when I've been in New Orleans down south, I don't like it. It's dangerous. Like literally every single time I've been to Bayou Classic, I've been in some freaking situation where now that I'm older, I realize that somebody was targeting me. But sometimes you can stay away from danger, but it'll follow you. Because in this story, Mercy Mack, she was young, 22. Look at her smile. Like this picture makes me so happy. She was such a happy little young woman. Like she was literally so happy. Look at the smile. Like her face, she's so pretty. She reminds me of a woman I know. Once again, I just love her smile in this picture. Like it's fucked up, but in her case, she was 22. I guess she was dealing with this 20-year-old guy, and I don't know what the footage was, but she had video footage of them that she wanted to put on social media, and we don't really know what it was, you know what I'm saying? But it could have been, like they've been chilling, getting to know each other. You know how sometimes girls like to, do their little Snapchat videos and, this is my new boo type of thing, get in their life. I think that's what the case was. And he didn't want the footage up there. So she ended up getting shot. Like, he killed her. Brenda Stone, 17, like, she was found dead in a fucking car. She's 17. Like, this is so, this is another story where the family was like, she ain't no fucking tranny. She ain't no tranny. She is a he. When she is a she. Dominique Fells, this is the story that motivated me to even do this. How I even, was like, let me contribute to Trans Awareness Week this year. Because, this freaking lady in this picture is so sickening. I just live for this. Is so pretty. Like this is so. For some reason, it puts me in a mind of pose. Like I don't know why, but she was found stabbed and beaten. She had black eyes, trauma to the head, bruises, knots. He threw her into the river, and when they found her, he's such a piece of shit. Like. I hope he gets the death penalty. I'm just saying it. When they found her, they just found her with her legs detached, cut off at the knee. This was probably the most gruesome death of the year. And then he fled Philadelphia and went to California. They found him in California 6 months later. They probably just found him like a month ago or something like that, which is why the story was refreshed and put in my face, which I'm very happy about. But this picture is so pretty. Rest in peace, Dominique. You are very beautiful. This is Rhea Milton. She is so pretty. In her case, they're trying to say that this wasn't, motivated by her identity. Like they didn't kill her because she was trans. They just got like some setups going on, and I forgot the town she lived in. But basically, like this 14-year-old girl lured her to Liberty Township. She had like two grown men who like followed them as a trap, and they shot her. They tried to take her car, but she put up a fight. So I guess they shot and killed her, or they shot and killed, but she put up a fight. So, good girl. I wish you would have had a gun and you would have shot and killed them first. This is Nina Pop. This picture of her, I actually went searching hard for another picture because she was just so freaking pretty. And she was a bad baddie. And I actually went to her Facebook to find this picture. It's so pretty. I just cannot. I'm just so mesmerized by her lashes. Nina. But she was found stabbed to death in her own apartment, which is obviously a hate crime. This is Lexi. This is the one story where we're not sure what really fucking happened, but she was stabbed at Harlem Park, and there are alleged stories going around saying that her death was over a wig. Monica Diamond, this lady looks just like a lady I worked with at McDonald's. Like, no shade if you're watching this. Like, she's really pretty. But this was a case where she was actually killed by what I believe to be her boyfriend. This is Mia Perry. What they're saying is that she had a shootout with security guards in some sort of little apartment complex. They say that there's 3 apartments. It's just so weird. Basically, that she had a shootout with security guards who were, securing the area. The police were called. When the police came with dogs, they searched the area. Nothing was found. Nobody was found, so they assumed that whoever was shooting with them had left the scene. But the next day, she was found at 4 p.m. with a gun next to her. but they didn't find her the night before with dogs. So she was bleeding out, sweating, shooting, gunpowder. Like, I think the dog would have found her like that night. Well, I think, and I don't want to, get into my imagination too much, but what I think is that whoever had the shootout that night, I don't know. I think they maybe they probably found this girl, killed her, and tried to stage it as her being the one that had the shootout. His story is too much. This y'all here in Nesby, she was shot to death in her own apartment. You never know. She probably just wanted to meet a guy. You probably just want a guy to come over and give you some company. You don't expect him to fucking kill you. Rest in peace, Shahira. I can tell that you are a very, very classy and graceful lady. This is Brianna BB Hill. She was shot and killed on the side of the road by a man. Reports said that she was acquainted with her killer, and they were alleged to have some sort of bond. Once again, another case where the bitch, like, dang, in 2022. So it's still happening, and it can happen to you. So, damn. Alicia Harris, an interior designer, shot to death in a park located in Savannah, Georgia. And she was a hardworking woman. She was an interior designer. People loved her. They said she had a great personality. She was very, very, very appreciating, accepting her community. Savannah's not that big. This is Angel Unique. She's from Jackson, Tennessee. She was visiting Memphis. She was visiting Memphis for like the weekend, enjoying her life. Whatever she was doing, she was enjoying her life. But they had to end up finding her shot dead in the hotel room. She had called her best friend and let her best friend know XYZ. She was going to be back there. And her best friend never got a call again. How fucking sad. I almost missed this one because, deaths just keep happening. Like, they just keep happening. So, like, this one really almost got past me. But this is Drea McCarty, who was killed in Baton Rouge. There was really no info released on her death. And I would like to hope it's not it was any anti-transgender violence. And even if it was for another reason, I'm just honoring all these Black trans women. But this girl was so pretty. I'm so glad I found her before the end. There was really no details of how she died, but she's 22 and her pictures are so pretty. And I was like, oh wow, Black people are only 13% of the 20 Black trans girls with the same background as me dying is scary. This was my little participation in Transgender Awareness Week. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Selena Media. Click the link in my description for my Facebook watch page, which is Post Network Media. Brooklyn Smith, she was from Freeport, so most of you guys are from Freeport right now watching. Ariane Burnett, Mia Green, Keith Sam, Aja Raquel Spears. You remind me of one of my friends from Alicia D. Hardy, Tiffany Harris, Black, Shaky Peters. And I hope I'm saying that right. Shaky Peters or Shaky Peters. Girl. I hope I got it right. Mercy Mack, my favorite with the beautiful smile. Brayla Stone, the youngest trans girl died in 17 years old. Dominique Phelps, brutally had her fucking legs cut off and dumped in the river in Philadelphia. Real Milton, shot and robbed, Grandma Papa, Nina Pop, anti-transgender violence, Lexi, and trans craziness. Don't do this. Monica Diamond, beautiful, beautiful trans woman. Boyfriend killed her in the back of